The warning lights turned red 3 seconds before everything went wrong. Taeho grabbed the control stick with both hands and pulled hard. His small cargo ship was shaking like it wanted to break apart. The engine on the left side had stopped working. Smoke filled the cockpit. Through the front window, he could see the research station getting closer and closer. Too fast. He was coming in too fast. "Come on," he said through his teeth. "Just a little more." The ship did not listen. It dropped like a stone toward the landing platform. Taeho had just enough time to cross his arms over his face before the world turned into fire and metal and pain. The crash was loud. It was the kind of sound that traveled through walls and floors and made everyone stop what they were doing. On the Valari research station, hundreds of alien scientists and workers looked up from their tasks. Some of them ran toward the windows. Others checked their screens for information. In the medical center on the 3rd floor, a doctor named Rin heard the explosion and felt the station shake beneath her feet. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Her hands had 6 fingers each, and they were very good at delicate work. She had been a doctor for 40 years, and she had never heard a sound like that. "What happened?" asked her assistant, a young male named Drell. He was shorter than Rin, with the same blue skin, but lighter eyes. "Ship crash," Rin said. She was already moving toward the door. "Landing platform 7. Get the emergency kit." They ran through the hallways. Other Valari moved out of their way. Everyone knew that Rin was the best doctor on the station. If there was any chance of saving whoever was on that ship, she would find it. The landing platform was a mess. The small cargo ship had hit the ground at a bad angle and slid for almost 50 meters before stopping against a wall. Parts of it were on fire. Other parts were just gone, scattered across the platform like broken toys. Smoke rose into the air and made it hard to see. Rin covered her mouth with her sleeve and walked closer. She did not expect to find anyone alive. A crash like this would kill any Valari instantly. Their bones were thin and light, perfect for their low-gravity homeworld, but weak against sudden impacts. Even a small accident could cause fatal injuries. Then she saw movement. At first, she thought it was just the smoke playing tricks on her eyes. But no. There was definitely something moving near the front of the destroyed ship. Something was crawling out of the broken cockpit window. "Drell," Rin said quietly. "Are you seeing this?" "I see it," Drell whispered back. "But I do not believe it." The creature pulled itself out of the window and fell onto the ground. It was covered in blood and dust. Its clothes were torn. One of its arms hung at a strange angle. But it was still moving. It was still alive. It was a human. Rin had heard about humans, of course. Everyone in the galaxy had heard about them by now. They were a young species from a small planet called Earth. They had only joined the galactic community about 50 years ago. Most species found them strange. They were soft and weak-looking, with no claws or scales or shells to protect them. Their planet was considered dangerous because of its high gravity and unpredictable weather. No one understood how they had survived long enough to develop space travel, but Rin had never actually met a human before. She had never treated one. She did not know much about their biology, except for the basics. The human was trying to stand up. He got to his knees, then fell down again. He tried once more. This time he managed to get one foot under himself before his leg gave out and he collapsed. Rin ran to him. She knelt down beside him and gently turned him onto his back. Up close, she could see his face clearly. He was young, maybe 30 years old by human standards. He had black hair and dark eyes. His skin, where it was not covered in blood, was a warm brown color. "Do not move," Rin said in common, the shared language of the galaxy. "You are badly hurt. I am a doctor. I will help you." The human looked at her. His eyes were unfocused, but he seemed to understand her words. He opened his mouth and said something that made Rin's blood turn cold. "The medicine," he said. His voice was rough and weak. "The cargo. Where is it?" "What?" Rin did not understand. "I was carrying medicine." The human tried to lift his head to look at the burning ship. For the children. The sick children. Is it okay? Did the medicine survive? Rin stared at him. This creature was lying on the ground with injuries that should have killed him. He was bleeding from a dozen different places. He could barely breathe, and his first thought was about the cargo. Do not worry about that now, she said firmly. We need to get you to the medical center. Drell arrived with a floating stretcher. Together, they carefully lifted the human onto it. He groaned in pain but did not scream. His jaw was tight, and his hands were clenched into fists, but he did not cry out. As they moved through the hallways, Rin used her scanner to check the human's injuries. What she saw made her stop walking. That cannot be right, she said. What is it? Drell asked. Rin looked at the scanner again. Then she looked at the human. Then she looked at the scanner one more time. He has 17 fractured bones, she said slowly. His left arm is broken in 3 places. His right leg is broken in 2 places. He has 4 broken ribs. His collarbone is cracked. Several bones in his hands and feet are damaged. His spine has 2 fractures. Drell made a small sound of horror. He should be dead. Any Valari would be dead. Yes, Rin agreed. Any Valari would be dead, but the human was not dead. He was not even unconscious. He was lying on the stretcher, looking up at the ceiling, still breathing. His face was covered in sweat and pain, but his eyes were open. He was awake. The medicine, he said again. Someone needs to check on the medicine. It was in a special container. Blue color. Very important. Rin leaned over him. Human, do you understand what I told you? You have 17 broken bones. You should not be able to speak. You should not be able to think. How are you doing this? The human looked at her. For a moment, something like confusion crossed his face. Then, amazingly, he smiled. It was a small smile, tight with pain, but it was real. It hurts, he admitted. It hurts a lot, but I have been hurt before. The body is strong. The mind is stronger. Rin did not know what to say to that. She had been a doctor for 40 years. She had treated thousands of patients from dozens of different species. She had seen injuries that would give anyone nightmares. But she had never seen anything like this. A creature with 17 broken bones, awake and talking, and worried about medicine for sick children. Get him to the medical center, she told Drell. Now, and send someone to check the cargo. As they rushed through the station, Rin could not stop looking at the human. He had closed his eyes now, and his breathing was shallow and fast. But he was still alive. Still fighting. She did not know much about humans, but she was starting to think that the galaxy did not know much about them either. And maybe that was a mistake. The medical center was the cleanest place on the station. White walls, white floors, white lights. Everything was designed to be sterile and calm. But right now, it was full of noise and movement. Doctors and nurses ran back and forth. Machines beeped and hummed. Voices called out numbers and instructions. In the center of it all, on a white bed, lay the human. Rin stood beside him with a needle in her hand. The needle contained a strong sedative, the kind that could put any species to sleep within seconds. She had used it thousands of times. It always worked. I need you to relax, she said to the human. His name was Teho. She had found his identification card in his pocket. This medicine will help you sleep. You will not feel any pain while we fix your bones. Teho shook his head. The movement was small, but it was clear. No, Rin blinked. No? What do you mean, no? No sedative. Teho's voice was weak but firm. I need to stay awake. Drell, who was standing nearby, made a confused sound. That is not possible. You have 17 broken bones. The pain alone should have made you unconscious by now. We cannot operate on you while you are awake. Then do not operate, Teho said. Just stabilize me. Stop the bleeding. Put the bones back in the right place. I can handle the pain. Rin set down the needle. She pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down so she could look directly at Taeho's face. His eyes were dark and tired, but there was something strong behind them, something she did not understand. Let me explain something to you, she said carefully. In our species, the Valari, bones are very important. They are connected to our nervous system in a special way. When a bone breaks, the pain is so intense that our bodies shut down automatically. It is a protection mechanism. 2 or 3 broken bones will cause unconsciousness. 4 or 5 will cause death. She paused to let him understand. You have 17 broken bones. By all logic, you should be dead. The fact that you are still talking to me is something I cannot explain. But you are asking me to treat you without sedation. You are asking me to move bones and set fractures while you are awake and feeling everything. Do you understand how much that will hurt? Taeho looked at her for a long moment. Then he lifted his good hand, the one that was not broken, and pointed at the window. Through the glass, Rin could see the lower levels of the station. The children, Taeho said, the sick ones. Where are they? Rin felt a strange feeling in her chest. They are in the quarantine ward, 3 floors down. But what does that have to do with? How long do they have? The question hit Rin like a cold wind. She looked at Drell, then back at Taeho. The virus is fast. Without the antidote, most of them will not survive more than 2 days. Some of the weaker ones have less time than that. Taeho nodded slowly. The antidote was in my cargo. A blue container. Special cooling system. If it survived the crash, you can save them. We sent someone to check, Rin said. But the fire damaged much of the cargo area. Then I need to go check myself. Rin almost laughed. Then she realized he was serious. You cannot walk, she said. Your leg is broken in 2 places. Your spine has fractures. If you try to stand, you could die. If I do not try, those children will die. Taeho's voice was quiet but absolute. I took this job because I wanted to help. The company I work for, they deliver medicine to places that need it. When I heard about the sick children on this station, I volunteered. I flew through an asteroid field to get here faster. I did not come all this way to lie in a bed. While kids die 3 floors below me, silence filled the room. Every doctor and nurse had stopped moving. They were all looking at the human with expressions of shock and wonder. Drell stepped closer. You volunteered? You chose this mission? Yes, but it was dangerous. The route to this station is known to be difficult. Many ships have been damaged or destroyed trying to reach us. Oh, I know. Taeho almost smiled. That is why the pay was good. So you did it for money? The smile faded. No. I did it because someone had to. The money was just an excuse to tell myself. Rin stood up. Her mind was racing. She had never met anyone like this human. His body was broken, his bones were shattered, and he was lying in what should be his deathbed. But all he could think about was saving strangers. The sedative will help you heal faster, she said. If you sleep, your body can focus all its energy on recovery. You could be walking again in a few weeks. A few weeks is too long, Taeho said. Those children do not have weeks. They do not even have days. What exactly are you planning to do? Taeho took a deep breath. It clearly hurt him. Rin could see his face tighten with pain. But he did not stop. Stabilize me, he said. Put braces on my broken bones. Give me something for the pain, but not enough to make me sleep. Then help me get to the cargo area. I know where the container is. I can find it. And if the container is destroyed, if the antidote is gone, Taeho was quiet for a moment. Then at least I will know. At least I will have tried. Rin looked at Drell. Drell looked back at her. Neither of them knew what to say. This is impossible, Drell whispered. No species can function with this many broken bones. The pain would drive anyone mad. Even if we reduce it with medicine, he will still feel everything. Every step will be torture. I know, Rin said. She looked down at Tae-ho. His eyes were closed now, and his breathing was fast and shallow. He was fighting just to stay conscious. Every second was a battle, and he was willing to go through even more pain for children he had never met. Why? She asked softly. Why do you care so much? They are not your species. They are not your family. You do not know them. Why would you hurt yourself for them? Tae-ho opened his eyes. For a moment, Rin saw something deep inside them. Something old and powerful, and very, very human. Because they are children, he said simply. Because they are scared and sick, and they need help. Because if I do not try, I will have to live with that for the rest of my life. He paused. However long that is. Rin made her decision. Drell, she said. Get the bone stabilizers. The strongest ones we have. And prepare a pain reduction injection. Not a sedative. Something that will dull the pain without affecting his mind. Drell stared at her. You cannot be serious. I am very serious. Rin looked at the human with new eyes. He wants to help. I will not stop him from trying. As Drell ran to get the supplies, Rin leaned close to Tae-ho's ear. You understand that this might kill you, she said quietly. The stress on your body, the pain, the movement. Your heart could stop. Your spine could shift and paralyze you. There are 100 ways this could go wrong. Tae-ho nodded weakly. I understand. And you still want to do it? Yes. Rin straightened up. She had been a doctor for 40 years. She had saved countless lives. But she had never felt like this before. She felt like she was watching something historic. Something important. Then let us begin, she said. And for the first time since the crash, Tae-ho smiled. It was a real smile. A brave smile. The smile of someone who refused to break. The bone stabilizers were cold against Tae-ho's skin. They wrapped around his broken arm, his fractured leg, his damaged ribs. Each one hummed softly as it activated, sending small vibrations through his body. The technology was advanced, designed to hold bones in place without surgery. Valari doctors used them for minor injuries. No one had ever used them for 17 fractures at once. This is as much as I can do, Rin said. She stepped back and looked at her work. The human was covered in metal braces and soft padding. He looked like a machine wrapped in bandages. The stabilizers will keep your bones from moving too much. But they cannot take away the pain. They cannot heal you. Every step you take will cause damage. Tae-ho nodded. He was sitting on the edge of the bed now. His feet touched the floor. But he had not tried to stand yet. His face was pale and covered in sweat. The pain medicine, he said. Is it working? It should reduce the pain by about 40%. Rin answered. That is the most I can give you without affecting your thoughts. You will still feel everything. Just less. Less is good. Tae-ho took a deep breath. Help me up. Rin and Drell stood on either side of him. They each took one of his arms, careful not to touch the broken places. Slowly, carefully, they lifted him to his feet. Tae-ho screamed. The sound was terrible. It filled the medical center and echoed off the walls. It was the sound of pure pain, raw and honest and human. Rin had heard patients scream before, but never like this. Never from someone who was choosing to feel it. But then the scream stopped. Tae-ho was standing. His legs were shaking badly, and his face was twisted in pain. But he was standing. He was upright. Okay, he breathed. Okay, that was bad. You do not have to do this, Drell said. His voice was high with worry. We can send robots to search the cargo area. We can use drones. You do not need to go yourself. Robots do not know what they are looking for, Tae-ho said. The container is special. It has a hidden panel, a secret compartment. The antidote is inside. Only I know how to open it. Why would medicine be hidden like that? Rin asked. Because it is valuable. Taeho took a small step forward. His leg almost collapsed. But he caught himself on Drell's shoulder. On some planets, people would kill for this antidote. The company puts it in hidden containers to protect it. Only the pilot knows the code. Rin understood. The galaxy was not always a safe place. Valuable cargo attracted dangerous attention. Then I will come with you, she said. I will help you walk. No. Taeho shook his head. You are a doctor. There are sick children who need you. Go to them. Make sure they are ready to receive the antidote when I find it. I cannot just leave you. You can. Taeho looked at her with those dark, determined eyes. You must. I did not come here for myself. I came here for them. Let me do my job. You do yours. Rin felt something tight in her chest. It was respect, she realized. Deep, powerful respect. Drell will go with you, she said finally. He will guide you to the cargo area and help you if you fall. I will go to the quarantine ward and prepare the children. Taeho nodded. Thank you. They moved slowly through the hallways of the station. Drell walked beside Taeho, ready to catch him if he stumbled. Other Valari stopped and stared as they passed. Word had spread quickly. Everyone knew about the human with 17 broken bones who refused to stay in bed. Why are they looking at me? Taeho asked. His voice was thin with effort. Each step was a battle. Because they do not believe what they are seeing. Drell answered. To us, what you are doing is impossible. You should not be able to move. You should not be able to think. The pain alone should have destroyed your mind by now. Humans are different, Taeho said. We evolved on a harsh planet. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous animals. Our bodies learn to survive pain. Our minds learn to push through it. But why? Why did your species develop this way? Taeho was quiet for a moment. They reached a corner and had to turn left. The movement made him gasp with pain. But he kept going. Because we had no choice, he said finally. We were not the strongest animals on our planet. We were not the fastest. We did not have claws or fangs or armor. All we had was our minds and our will. So we learned to never give up. We learned that stopping meant dying. Drell thought about this. And this is true for all humans? Most of us. Taeho almost smiled. Some are stronger than others. But all of us have the potential. All of us can find that strength when we need it. They reached the elevator. Drell pressed the button for the cargo level. The doors closed, and they began to descend. In the small space of the elevator, Drell could hear Taeho's breathing. It was fast and ragged, like an animal that had been running for too long. The human's hands were clenched into fists at his sides. His whole body was trembling. Are you all right? Drell asked. No, Taeho admitted. I am very far from all right. But that does not matter. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. The smell of smoke and burned metal filled the air. The cargo area was a disaster. The crash had torn through it like a storm. Containers were scattered everywhere, many of them broken open. Their contents, food, equipment, supplies lay in piles on the floor. Fires still burned in some places, filling the air with thick black smoke. Emergency lights flashed red and yellow. The ship is over there, Drell said, pointing. What is left of it? Taeho looked. The cargo ship was barely recognizable. It had been a small vessel, built for speed and efficiency. Now it was just twisted metal and shattered glass. The front half was completely crushed. The back half was on fire. The container was in the middle section, Taeho said. Near the floor. Blue color. About 1 meter tall. They moved forward. The floor was covered in debris. Every step was dangerous. Taeho had to lift his broken leg over pieces of metal and around pools of chemical fluid. Each movement sent waves of pain through his body. He fell once, his leg gave out, and he crashed to the floor. The impact made him cry out in pain. For a moment, he lay there, breathing hard, unable to move. Human, Drell said nervously. Taeho, are you okay? Should we go back? Taeho did not answer. His eyes were closed, and his face was pressed against the cold floor. Drell thought he had finally given up, finally accepted that this was too much. Then Taeho moved. Slowly, painfully, he pushed himself up, first onto his elbows, then onto his knees. Then, with a sound that was half scream and half determination, he got back to his feet. I am not going back, he said. His voice was rough, but it was strong. Not without the antidote. Drell stared at him with wide eyes. How are you doing this? How is this possible? Taeho looked at him. There was something burning in those human eyes, something that Drell had never seen before in any species. Because I have to, Taeho said simply. Because giving up is not an option. He started walking again. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Drell followed, watching every movement. He had studied medicine for 10 years. He had learned about every species in the galaxy. He thought he understood how bodies worked, how pain worked, how life worked. But watching this human drag his broken body through the wreckage, refusing to stop, refusing to fall again, Drell realized he had been wrong. He did not understand anything about humans. Not yet, but he was starting to learn. The blue container was buried under a pile of broken metal. Taeho saw it first. Even through the smoke and the pain, his eyes found it. The familiar blue color, the small company logo on the side, the special cooling system that kept the contents safe. It was there. It had survived the crash. There, he said, pointing with his good hand. I see it. Drell looked at the pile. It was huge, almost 2 meters tall. Heavy metal beams and broken panels were stacked on top of each other like a small mountain. The blue container was at the bottom, trapped under all that weight. We cannot move that, Drell said. We need equipment. We need help. There is no time for that. Taeho was already moving toward the pile. The container is strong. It can survive the pressure. But the longer we wait, the more chance something goes wrong. A fire could reach it. The cooling system could fail. But how will you? Taeho did not answer. He reached the pile and started pulling at the smaller pieces. His broken arm hung useless at his side, so he used only his good hand. He grabbed a piece of metal and pulled, then another, then another. Each movement was slow and painful. The stabilizers on his body hummed louder as they struggled to keep his bones in place. Blood began to seep through his bandages. His breathing became loud and harsh. Stop, Drell said. You are hurting yourself. You are making your injuries worse. I know. Taeho did not stop. He kept pulling, kept digging, kept fighting. But those children are running out of time. I can heal later. They cannot. Drell watched for a moment. Then he made a decision. He moved forward and started helping. His Valari hands were not as strong as human hands, but they were quick and careful. Together, they worked faster. Piece by piece, the pile got smaller. The blue container became more visible. Taeho's movements became slower as his body grew weaker. But he refused to rest. On the 3rd floor, in the quarantine ward, Rin was preparing the children. There were 14 of them. 14 Valari children between the ages of 2 and 10, all sick with the same virus. They lay in small beds, their blue skin pale, and their eyes dull. Some of them were sleeping. Others were too weak to sleep. The virus was called the Silent Death. It attacked the nervous system slowly, quietly, without warning. By the time symptoms appeared, it was usually too late. The antidote had to be given quickly, or not at all. Rin walked between the beds, checking each child. Their parents stood nearby, watching with fear in their eyes. They had heard about the crash. They had heard about the human. They did not know what to believe. Is it true? One mother asked. She was holding her daughter's hand tightly. Is there really a human trying to save them? Yes, Rin said. His name is Taeho. He was carrying the antidote, when his ship crashed. 4. But the antidote was destroyed. Wasn't it? We do not know yet. He is looking for it now. The mother looked confused. Looking for it? I thought he was injured. I heard he had 17 broken bones. He does. Silence. The mother stared at Rin as if she had spoken in a foreign language. That is impossible, the mother said finally. No one can move with that many broken bones. He should be dead. Yes, Rin agreed. He should be. She pulled out a small recording device. It was the kind doctors use to document unusual cases. She had started recording as soon as Taeho arrived at the medical center. But humans are different, Rin continued. I am beginning to understand that now. They do not follow our rules. They do not accept our limits. When a human decides to do something, they do it. No matter the cost. In the cargo area, Taeho finally reached the container. His hands were bleeding. His body was shaking so badly that he could barely stand. The pain had become a constant roar in his mind, like standing next to a waterfall. It never stopped. It never got quieter, but the container was free. Help me, he said to Drell. Help me turn it over. Together, they rolled the container onto its side. Taeho felt along the bottom until he found the hidden panel. His fingers were clumsy with pain, but he managed to press the right spots in the right order. The panel clicked open. Inside was a smaller container, wrapped in protective foam. Taeho pulled it out with trembling hands. It was cold to the touch. The cooling system was still working. Is that it? Drell asked. Is that the antidote? Yes. Taeho held it against his chest, like it was the most precious thing in the universe. This is it. This can save them. He tried to stand up. His legs would not obey. He tried again. His body refused. I cannot move, he said. His voice was calm, almost peaceful. My body has had enough. My body has had enough. Drell knelt beside him. What do I do? How can I help? Taeho held out the container. Take this. Run to the quarantine ward. Give it to Rin. She will know what to do. Quote, but I cannot leave you here. You might die. I might. Taeho looked at the young Valari with tired eyes. But if you do not go now, those children will definitely die. That is simple math. One possible death is better than 14 certain deaths. Drell took the container. His hands were shaking. Why? He asked. The same question Rin had asked. The question that every Valari on the station wanted to know. Why are you doing this? Why do you care so much about strangers? Taeho smiled. It was a weak smile, but it was real. On Earth, he said slowly, there is a saying. It goes, a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in. I always liked that saying. It means that we should help others, even if we will never see the results. Even if we will never benefit. He paused to catch his breath. The words were getting harder to speak. Those children up there, they have their whole lives ahead of them. They could grow up to be doctors, scientists, artists. They could change the galaxy, but they will never get that chance if they die today. He looked at Drell with clear, honest eyes. I am just one person. My life is small. But if I can give 14 children a chance to live, then my life meant something. That is enough for me. Drell stood very still. He felt like he was hearing something important, something that humans understood but other species had forgotten. Go, Taeho said. Hurry, save them. Drell ran. He ran faster than he had ever run before. He did not feel the floor under his feet or the air in his lungs. All he felt was the weight of the container in his hands, and the memory of the human's words in his mind. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in. He understood now. He finally understood what made humans special. It was not their strength. It was not their ability to survive pain. It was their hearts. Their endless, impossible, beautiful hearts. The antidote worked. One by one, the children began to recover. The first signs appeared within hours. Color returned to their pale blue skin. Their eyes became brighter. Their breathing grew stronger. By the next morning, the youngest ones were sitting up in their beds, asking for food. The quarantine ward, which had been so quiet and sad for days, was now full of noise and life. Children laughed. Parents cried with happiness. Doctors and nurses moved between the beds with smiles on their faces. In the middle of it all, Rin stood watching. She had been awake for almost 30 hours, but she did not feel tired. She felt something else. Something she could not name. Dr. Rin. A nurse approached her with a worried expression. The human. He is stable now. But he is asking for you. Rin nodded and made her way to the intensive care unit. Taeho was lying on a bed surrounded by machines. Tubes connected to his arms delivered medicine and nutrients. Screens showed his vital signs, all of them weak but steady. His body was covered in fresh bandages, and the bone stabilizers had been replaced with proper medical casts. He looked terrible. He looked half dead, but his eyes were open, and when he saw Rin, he smiled. The children, he said. His voice was barely a whisper. Did it work? Yes. Rin sat down beside his bed. The antidote worked perfectly. All 14 children will make a full recovery. You saved them. Taeho closed his eyes. For a moment, his whole body relaxed. The tension that had been holding him together finally let go. Good, he said softly. That is good. Rin looked at her recording device. She had been documenting everything since Taeho arrived. The crash, the injuries, the refusal of sedation, the walk through the station, the search for the antidote, all of it. I want you to know, she said, that I'm going to share this recording with others. With the medical community. With scientists across the galaxy. What you did here today, it challenges everything we thought we knew about biology and survival. Taeho opened his eyes again. What do you mean? I mean that you should not be alive. Rin's voice was steady but full of wonder. 17 fractured bones, including spinal fractures. You walked nearly half a kilometer through dangerous conditions. You lifted heavy objects. You never lost consciousness. She shook her head slowly. By every medical standard we have, that is impossible. Humans are stubborn, Taeho said with a weak laugh. My mother always told me that. It is more than stubbornness. Rin leaned forward. When Drell brought the antidote to me, he was crying. I had never seen him cry before, in the 5 years we have worked together. He told me what you said about trees and shade, about giving your life meaning by helping others. Taeho was quiet. In our culture, Rin continued, we value logic and efficiency. We do not understand sacrifice that does not benefit ourselves. When someone is hurt, they rest. When someone is dying, they accept it. We do not fight against pain. We do not push through suffering. It seems wasteful to us. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. But watching you, I think I finally understand something. You humans do not see pain as the enemy. You see it as a challenge. You do not avoid suffering. You walk through it because you know something beautiful might be waiting on the other side. Sometimes there is not. Taeho said honestly. Sometimes we suffer for nothing. Sometimes we fail. Yes, but you try anyway. Rin's eyes were bright with emotion. That is what makes you remarkable. Not your strength, not your survival abilities, your willingness to try, even when failure is likely. Your willingness to hurt, even when there is no guarantee of reward. The door opened, and Drell walked in. Behind him came a small crowd of people. Parents of the sick children. Doctors and nurses. Station workers who had heard the story. They filled the room until there was no more space. The mother Rin had spoken to earlier pushed to the front. She was carrying her daughter, the one who had been so sick just yesterday. The little girl was awake now, her eyes bright and curious. Is this him? The mother asked. Is this the human who saved her? Yes, Rin said. This is Taeho. The mother walked to the bed. She looked at Taeho for a long moment. Tears were running down her blue cheeks. "Thank you," she said. The words seemed too small for what she was feeling. "Thank you for my daughter. Thank you for giving her back to me." "You are welcome," Tejo said simply. Other parents came forward. They said thank you in different ways. Some with words, some with tears, some with silence. A few of the older children came too. Shy but grateful. They did not fully understand what had happened, but they knew this human had done something important for them. When the room finally emptied, Tejo was exhausted. His eyes were closing despite his efforts to stay awake. "Rest now," Rin said gently. "You have earned it." "Will I heal?" Tejo asked. "My bones? My spine? Will I walk again?" Rin considered the question carefully. "Your injuries are severe. In any other species, they would be permanent. But I have been reading about human biology since you arrived. Your species has remarkable healing abilities. Your bones can mend themselves. Your body can rebuild what was broken." She smiled, and for once, there was warmth in her Valari expression. "I believe you will walk again, Tejo. It will take time. It will be painful. But if anyone can do it, I think you can." Tejo nodded, already half asleep. "Good. Because I have more deliveries to make." Rin laughed softly. Even now, even broken and barely alive, the human was thinking about his next job, his next mission, his next chance to help someone. She stood up and left the room quietly. In the hallway, Drell was waiting for her. "What will you do with the recording?" he asked. Rin thought about it. "I will send it to every medical school in the galaxy, every science academy, every news network that will listen." She looked back at Tejo's room. The galaxy needs to know about humans, not just the facts about their biology, but the truth about who they are. "And what truth is that?" Rin smiled. It was a new expression for her face, an expression she had learned from watching a human refuse to give up. "That they do not break," she said. "They bend. They suffer. They fall down. But they always, always get back up. And when they decide to help someone, nothing in the universe can stop them." The recording was sent that night. Within days, it had spread to every corner of known space. Scientists studied it. Doctors debated it. Ordinary people watched it and felt something stir inside them. A human with 17 broken bones, walking, climbing, fighting through impossible pain. For strangers, for children he had never met. The galaxy had many powerful species with great strength, advanced technology, long histories. But none of them had ever produced anything like this. None of them had ever shown such perfect, stubborn, beautiful humanity. And somewhere, in a medical center on a small research station, a man named Tejo slept peacefully. His bones were healing. His body was recovering, and when he woke up, he would do it all again. Because that was what humans did. That was who they were. That was their gift to the stars.